It's just past midnight on March 18th, 1990. St. Patrick's Day crowds have gone home. Boston is quiet in that specific way old cities get quiet. Not empty, just holding its breath. On the edge of the fence, a museum sits dark, the way it has every single night for almost 100 years. Inside, 2 security guards are doing rounds that have nothing interesting in them. They've done this walk hundreds of times before. Nothing has ever happened here. Then, at 1:24 a.m., a buzzer rings at the side door. 2 police officers are standing outside. One of them speaks first. "There's been a disturbance reported nearby," he says. "They just need to come in and check the building." The guard on duty hesitates for exactly as long as it takes to decide this isn't worth arguing about. He buzzes them in. That decision, made in under 10 seconds by a 23-year-old guard who wasn't even supposed to be the one answering the door that day, is still costing the art world $500 million 36 years later. Before we get back to that night, you need to understand the woman whose life's works was about to be gutted. Isabella Stewart Gardner was not supposed to become one of the great collectors of her era. She was a New York socialite who married into Boston money in a city that at the time treated New Yorkers marrying in as slightly suspicious. Boston's old families were not always kind to her. She responded essentially by deciding to become more interesting than all of them combined. She traveled constantly. She befriended painters, not just bought their work. She sat for Sargent, corresponded with Henry James, funded excavations, chased down old masters across Italy at a time when almost no American women were doing any of that alone. By the early 1900s, she had assembled one of the finest private collections in the country. Titian's Europa, Rembrandt's, Botticelli's Death of Lucretia, a Vermeer, back when no one outside the Netherlands had even heard the name. And then, she did something almost nobody does with a great collection. She didn't donate it to an existing museum. She built her own, modeled on a Venetian palazzo with a courtyard full of live plants at the center. Because she wanted people to feel like they were walking through someone's actual home, not a mausoleum of glass cases. And in her will, she left one very specific, very strange instruction. Nothing in the museum is ever to be moved, added, or removed. Not a chair, not a vase, not a painting. If anything is ever taken from its place, her will states the entire collection must be sold at an auction and the museum closed forever. Hold on to that detail. By the end of this video, it's going to mean something very different than it does right now. Now, back to March 18th, 1990. The 2 fake officers tell the guard, a young man named Rick Abbott, that there's a warrant out for his arrest. Some infraction, they say. He'll need to come with them. Abbott does something that in hindsight costs the museum everything. He steps out from behind the front desk, away from the only silent alarm button in the entire building, to be cuffed and questioned. Within about 90 seconds, Both guards on duty are handcuffed and led down to the basement. They are zip-tied to pipes, their faces wrapped in duct tape, in a spot deliberately chosen because it's far enough from any door or window that even if they do manage somehow to get free and start shouting, no one outside will hear them. The thieves, and it's still not confirmed whether those were the same two men who came to the door or whether more people were involved, now have the entire museum to themselves. No working alarm, since it had been disabled from the security panel. No police on the way, because no one had actually reported a disturbance in the first place. They have 81 minutes. Now, if you had unlimited time inside the museum like this, no interruptions and full pick of a world-class collection, you'd probably grab whatever's most famous and get out. That's not what happened here, though. They walk straight past an entire gallery of Raphaels. They ignore a Michelangelo sketch. Instead, they head directly to the Dutch room on the second floor, and they start cutting. Yeah, that's right, cutting. Not unhooking, not carefully lifting frames off the wall. Cutting with the blade, straight through the 350-year-old canvas. Rembrandt's Storm on the Sea of Galilee, his only known seascape ever, gets sliced out of his frame and folded into a rough square small enough to carry. They take Vermeer's The Concert. There are only 34 confirmed Vermeers in existence anywhere in the world, and one of them just got rolled up like a picnic blanket and shoved into a bag. They take 5 Degas works on paper. They take Manet's Chateau Tony, and this one is strange for a completely different reason, because the motion sensors show someone entering that particular gallery alone at a time that doesn't match either guard's known movements that night. To this day, no one has ever fully explained who that was or why. They take a finial, a small bronze eagle ornament off the top of an old flagpole. They take a Chinese ku, a bronze beaker worth a tiny fraction of anything else in the room. And they leave a Titian hanging 4 feet away untouched. Untrained art thieves generally don't know the difference between a masterpiece and a decoration, but these two seem to know exactly what they wanted. And what they wanted still doesn't fully add up to this day. 13 works, $500 million by most estimates, 81 minutes. Then they load everything into a car parked outside and drive off into the dark, and no one sees them ever again. Here is where the story stops being a heist and starts being something closer to a ghost story that the FBI happens to be running. For years, investigators chased a Boston Irish mob connection, a theory that gained weight once informants started naming a career criminal named Bobby Donati, a man known for his obsession with Rembrandt, who'd once reportedly said he wanted to steal a painting as leverage to get a friend out of prison. Donati was murdered in 1991, less than a year after the heist, in what looked like a mob hit. He took whatever he knew with him. Then there's Miles Connor Jr., one of the most notorious art thieves in American history, already in prison at the time of the heist, but with known associates who could easily have pulled it off using his usual methods. Connor always maintained that he knew who did it. He died in 2021, still not saying who. There is a Connecticut crime family angle. There is a theory involving the IRA using stolen art as currency to buy weapons during the Troubles. There's a claim, taken seriously enough to be investigated for years, that the paintings passed briefly through Ireland and then into the hands of a Philadelphia mob associate named Robert Guarente, who allegedly showed one of them rolled up in a tube to a friend in a diner parking lot, of all places, before he died in 2004. In 2013, FBI held a press conference and announced, with unusual confidence, that they knew the identity of the thieves. They traced the works to an attempted sale in Connecticut and Philadelphia in the early 2000s. And then came the part that made the entire case feel almost cursed. Both men they named were already dead. No arrests were ever made, no paintings were ever recovered. The reward for their return now stands at $10 million, the largest privately funded reward in art history. No questions asked, immunity offered, if the paintings simply came back intact. Every few years, a new lead surfaces. A tip from a dying mobster, a rumor out of Japan, a claim from a man in Florida who says he saw one of the paintings in a garage in the 90s. Every single one of them so far has gone nowhere. And now, remember that clause in Isabella Gardner's will, the one that says nothing in the museum can ever move? Walk through the Dutch room today and you'll find empty frames still hanging exactly where the stolen paintings used to be. Gilded, ornate, and completely empty. The museum's board could legally justify taking them down. No one would blame them. Instead, they've made a deliberate choice to leave them exactly as they are. It turns a robbery into something closer to a memorial. It turns absence into an exhibit in its own right. Maybe the strangest, most quietly devastating exhibit in the museum. Most museums exist to preserve what we still have. This one, almost by accident, ended up preserving what we lost. There is something genuinely hard to sit with, standing in front of an empty frame that used to hold a Vermeer. The label is still there, the nail is in the wall, the exact shape of the loss is preserved down to the inch. But the thing itself, the actual brushstrokes, the actual light Vermeer built with actual paint in the 1600s, it's just gone. Folded in a box somewhere, or bricked into a wall, or destroyed decades ago by the people who had no idea what they were dealing with. Maybe that's the real thing that this heist has to say. Underneath all the mob theories and dead suspects and FBI press conferences, we don't really grieve objects. We grieve the specific, unrepeatable version of something that can never exist in quite that way again. A single afternoon Vermeer spent painting a woman at a keyboard. A single storm Rembrandt froze in oil. Gone in 81 minutes and never seen again. Somewhere right now, a canvas that took a Dutch master weeks of his life is sitting in the dark, if it even exists at all. But here, in a museum in Boston, the frames are still waiting for their paintings.